everyone, this is Foxy Papa Smurf, or FPS Gamer for short, bringing you another map showcase created in Halo 2 Anniversary's Forge. And this is another map that I'm creating for the 5v5 Squad CTF contest being held by Halo Customs, the Halo Forge Epidemic, and Forge Hub. This is a one-flag CTF map that's primarily made to support 2 teams of 5, switching off between offense and defense. We're starting off here on blue team's side, and inside there's a garage where you'll see a couple of Warthogs. One is a machine gun, and one is the very potent Gauss Warthog. And obviously these are your go-to vehicles when playing Capture the Flag. Outside of the base you'll see a couple more vehicles. You'll see a Ghost and a Gungoose, and you might be thinking this is maybe too many vehicles to have on just one side, but if you think back to the other maps that are one flag CTF, you'll remember that they also had a wide array of vehicles. Because when playing a game type like this, vehicles can really make or break the game, and you always want to have access to one. And that's not to say that the map can't be traversed on foot. There's a very popular walking route that goes directly from blue base to red base. It's very direct, it's probably the quickest way to get from one side to the other, but it is extremely exposed. And for that reason we encountered a lot of confrontation in this area during playtesting. Even though this is more or less the center of the map, there are no power weapons placed here, and that's because specifically on a one flag CTF map, you want to have the power weapons placed a little bit more toward the defending side to give them an advantage over the attacking team. This ramp leads directly up to the side of red base, which is normally fairly difficult to infiltrate. Like I said, this path is very direct, it gets you straight into the base, but it is very heavily guarded and very easy to get spotted if you're using it. This second arm leads over to the vehicle path that you would typically take if you were in a Warthog or a Mongoose. There's a fair amount of cover here that players can use when deciding between different routes, and I like making it so once you set on a route you aren't stuck with it the entire way to the enemy's base. I like being able to switch from one route to another. This is blue team's tower, and I'll get a little bit more into why that's there in just a moment. But moving on to everyone's favorite mode of transportation, you'll see that the vehicle path travels around the exterior of the map, and that balances out the travel time getting from one base to the other, so the vehicles don't entirely dominate. But once you get to the red team's front door, you'll notice that it's only traversable by foot. You can't bring a vehicle through there because this gate is closed. And if you recall back to Zanzibar, or Stonetown in this case, the vehicle had to sidewind through the map where the infantry can more or less walk in a straight line if they so desired. The defending team also had access to vehicles, and so in my map I also wanted to give them a little bit of flexibility in transportation if they were to need it. Going around to the side of the base on Zanzibar, you'll notice that it is guarded by a gate. While it is not necessary to lower this gate to capture the flag, it does make it a lot more accessible to the vehicles and therefore the attacking team. And they can bring vehicles through there and pick up teammates that have grabbed the flag. But this style of map wasn't exclusive to Halo 2, even Halo 3 had maps that were similar to this style. High Ground had an attacking team that spawned at the beach and had to work their way up to the enemy base. I'm sure you're starting to see a pattern by now. But once they did make it up to the enemy base, they were met with yet another gate. And again, it was not necessary to lower this gate in order to capture the flag, but it did severely hinder the defending team's ability to keep their flag from getting stolen if that gate was open. Because once that gate is open, it allows vehicles access to their base and makes it all that much more difficult to defend. So if you want to open the gate, you have a few options to you. You can scale the wall, or you can go through one of these side caves. And for those of you that have seen my other maps, you know that I'm a really big fan of caves. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact that I'm a geology major, I don't know. But I really like caves. You enter on one side of the wall and you'll come out on the red side of the wall. You'll scale up one side. And you'll see that once you're up here, you're fairly protected from enemy fire unless you encounter another enemy once you're up there. But then you have access to the control console, which will lower the gate and then allow vehicles to travel through freely. And once this happens, the gameplay changes drastically. Now that vehicles have access to the base, the way the vehicles and the infantry interact with one another changes quite a bit. I also wanted to make it so the vehicles weren't too hindered going into the enemy base. I made sure the walls were far enough apart that the Warthog, the biggest vehicle available on the map, didn't have a hard time traversing the inner part of the base. So it was actually a really usable tool for the attacking team. Going up either one of these towers, you'll find the flag spawn, and you'll also find the defending team's sniper rifle. Now this is on a 90-second timer, and has only 8 shots available on it. So it's a weapon that you're going to want to use sparingly, which is good for the attacking team because once you have the sniper rifle and you make your way over to this guard tower right here, you'll find that it's very difficult to find cover from this sniper. This position was borderline overpowered, so there were a few tweaks that had to be made so that it wasn't such a detrimental asset to the defending team. Now you can see the purpose of the blue team's tower. It's to counter that sniper rifle up in the watchtower. When traveling through that infantry route, you'll find that as you go up the lift, you have immediate access to a shotgun, which can come in handy really quickly if you decide to scale this guard tower. You now have a short-range weapon that can counter that long-range weapon and hopefully get the drop on an unsuspecting enemy that's camping up under the tower. Blue team likewise has a sniper rifle, again with a 90-second timer and 8 shots available on it. And they have a little bit more cover than the red team does, even though they're at a slight elevation disadvantage. The red team flag isn't at the very back end of the base. It's far enough forward that you can have the defending team spawn behind it and have a chance to defend it. But since you are up on an upper platform, you can drop down immediately to a teammate awaiting, hopefully, in a vehicle below you. You just have to make sure that they're ready to go because the rocket launcher likewise spawns very close to the defending team. Once you have the flag, and let's say you don't have a vehicle available to you, then you can take the flag on foot. Like I said, it's going to take you a little bit longer and you're going to be more exposed, but it is possible. It's more easily done when you have a number of teammates with you helping. This route, as I mentioned previously, is the fastest way from one side to the other, but because it is lower down and there's not a very large amount of cover available to you, one can expect to die rather quickly if they're running unaided. To get to the flag capture plate, you can either go to the rear of the base and traverse one of these 2 grab lifts, or if you're a decent skill jumper, you can use one of the many jump ups that give you immediate access to the upper level. Again, it's a trade-off between having cover and getting to the flag post even quicker. Well, thank you guys so much for taking a look at my map. I appreciate the support and the views. This Forge contest is going through August, for those of you that would still like to enter. As far as I've seen, there's only been a couple of entries so far. I'm sure that will pick up a little bit as the deadline draws closer. I, for one, am expecting to release, at least 2, maybe 3 more maps before the deadline comes. And if you guys can continue to support me, like the videos, comment, subscribe, share, I really, really appreciate it. I've seen a great increase in the popularity of the videos and the interest people seem to hold toward these videos, so I'm going to continue making them as long as you guys continue to watch them and like them. So I really appreciate that support on your end. If you'd like to have a map featured on my channel, I would love to see it. Send me a message. My gamer tag is in the description. We could take a look at it together, and I would love to feature it in a future video. But thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you next time.